I haven't touched a drop of alcohol now for 7 years, despite a decade of binge drinking, daily drinking, struggling to stop. It was just chaos. And I've not touched a drop for 7 years, but I didn't actually do it the traditional way, right? I didn't go to AA meetings. I didn't use willpower. I didn't go to a therapist. I didn't do any of the mainstream ways of stopping drinking. I did it a totally different way. And today I'm going to break down the 5 most powerful things that have helped me on my journey. Now, these things are so powerful that actually I need a bit of mosquito spray on me before I start to tell you, because there is a mosquito around. And last year I had dengue fever. And I do not want to get that again because it can kill you. But these 5 things have worked for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people who have watched this channel, who have stopped drinking alcohol by consuming this content. It's worked for my almost 500 private clients that I've worked with in my coaching program. And in short, these 5 things are tried, tested, and proven to work. So if you right now are on your journey and you're thinking of taking a break from drinking, you're thinking of stopping drinking, you know that alcohol is impacting your life negatively, you simply must watch this entire video. And very quickly, if you want instant access to a brand new video training that I've just finished showing you how to control alcohol in as little as 48 hours, then click the link in the description. This new method is not about using willpower therapy or AA meetings. It's totally different. I do not publish this video anywhere else online, and it's already changing thousands of lives. So click the link below for instant access. Once you're on the next page, enter your name and email address and your free training will begin. It takes just 7 minutes to watch, but it'll feel like somebody flicks a switch in your brain. And honestly, I'm not sure when I'll start charging for this 7-minute video training. That's how good it is. But whilst it's still available, click the link below, enter your name and email address, and watch that video now. So let's dive into the first thing. Now, let me start by asking you a question. Has your alcohol drinking ever upset somebody that you love? So for me, the answer is yes, all the damn time. I remember when I drank, if I had been out drinking the night before and I could see a phone call coming from my mother, I wouldn't answer the call because I was hungover, I didn't feel great, and I was just like, nah, I'm not answering that. I remember there's times where I've had to call family members to borrow money because I'd run out of money because my life had just got so chaotic because of alcohol that I'd run out of cash. I've also done that with friends as well. Oh, I've just remembered a really terrible story, but I remember at my granddad's funeral. Oh, this is so embarrassing. I'm going to tell you anyway because this is the kind of crap that used to go on in my life. Oh, it's so bad. But I remember at my granddad's funeral, I got so drunk that I asked it was, I don't even want to say it, but basically I was asking people there for drugs. Like, what the heck? Who does that? How sick. But that's what I was like. When I drank, it was like this switch went off and I turned into some kind of complete idiot. And I upset a lot of people. Here's the problem. When I tried to stop drinking for those people, guess what happened? Nothing. And this is the first thing that I wanted to tell you about today. You cannot stop drinking for somebody else. You must stop drinking alcohol for yourself and for yourself only. Sure, family members can come into play. Family members can be a motivator, but they can't be the sole reason why you want to stop. Let me give you an example. I've had a lot of clients that have joined my program who have wanted help stopping drinking, and the catalyst, right, that final thing was quite often a wife or a partner saying, if you don't fix this, we're done. And for a lot of people, that's enough to actually go and seek help and actually try and find a solution. And I always tell those people, listen, if you are doing this for them, we ain't working together because it's never going to work. Sure, I can get you sober, but what are you going to do once your wife, your partner is off your case? What are you going to do when they stop being angry at you and they've forgiven you? Is 1 or 2 going to sneak back into your life? Is that thought of controlling it going to come back into your life? Well, the answer is it might. And I have seen so many relapses happen when people don't do this for themselves, because eventually the person that you're doing it for forgives you, and then that's it. So the first thing that helped me stop drinking alcohol was doing this for me. It was being selfish. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't want to do this for other people, right? You can want to do it for them, but you need to come first. Your motivations need to take priority over other people's. And one quick caveat to this is that I've got a brother who is 18 years of age. I'm 32. There's a huge age gap. And a motivator for me to not drink alcohol is to set a good example to him, right? Or for him. I want him to look at the life that I've got that didn't involve alcohol and drugs and smoking weed and hanging around with losers. I want him to be inspired by that. So that's a little bit different, but I don't not drink for him. He wasn't my reason to stop drinking. That's almost just a little bit of extra icing on the cake. Hopefully you can see the difference. I stopped drinking for myself. The second thing that helped me, this one is massive, right? This means that if you do this next one correctly, there's no AA meetings, there's no labels, there's no willpower, you can go to therapy, but it's pretty much unnecessary. But what I did next was a 3-step approach. Instead of seeing myself as the problem, right, and thinking of myself as an alcoholic that can never be fixed, had to go to meetings for the rest of my life, instead of seeing myself as a struggling non-drinker, what I did instead is I changed my perception of alcohol and addiction. How I did this is I used a mental model called first principles thinking. And first principles thinking is a problem-solving technique where you really study the individual component parts of a problem, you put them back together to create a new worldview. But essentially, I reframed the way that I viewed alcohol, so stopping drinking became a choice, a decision, rather than this fight and this battle. Then, once I'd done that, I then made a decision. I made a true decision to remove alcohol from my life, and that was it. It was gone. And you know what I did next is I moved on. I didn't listen to a single stop drinking podcast. I didn't listen to any books. I didn't do anything. I just changed the way I viewed alcohol, made a decision, and moved on. And that's why I can actually make this channel. Think about it, right? I talk about alcohol all day, every day. I speak to people every single day about alcohol, about addiction. You know, I'm around people that drink a lot. If anything, it should be me who struggles the most. Yet it's the total opposite because I've changed the way I viewed alcohol and I made a true decision. That changed the game for me. So, the third point, and this one is huge. This is probably the catalyst that got me going in the first place. This was the big thing that got the ball rolling for me. I have this really weird fear. And, you know, I'm not afraid of most things, right? I'm not afraid of embarrassment. I'm not afraid of failure. I'm not afraid of being successful, right? I'm not afraid of a lot of things. But I am afraid of one thing. In fact, by the way, I'm actually going to say that I do have all those fears, but I'm able to push through them. But there's one fear that I'm not able to push through. And my biggest fear, and every time I say this, when I speak it, when I tell somebody about it, I get quite fired up. But my biggest fear is that day, right, when it's our final day and we're sat in a bed and we've got all the people that we love around us. We've got our friends, we've got our family, our children, our grandchildren, hopefully our great-grandchildren. And I have this vision there where I've got all these people around me. I've got this big family. Everybody's happy, successful, healthy. You know, we live in this amazing place. Everybody's got these amazing lives. And they look at me and they're like, that guy did it all. That guy pushed to the limits. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't, you know, just sat around boozing and watching TV all day. No, that guy did it. And what I don't want to happen is I don't want to get to my deathbed that day. And number one is I don't want to be alone, right? I don't want alcohol to destroy all my relationships. And I'm just sat there alone thinking, why did I do that? I want to get there and I want to feel like I lived up to my potential. Whatever that is, right? I don't know what that is. I don't know what my potential is. Nobody knows exactly how far they can go. But that was my motivator. You know, when I was drinking, I used to feel like I ain't living up to my potential, and that killed me inside. And I don't know if that motivates you the same way it motivates me, but that fires me up because I know that if I don't drink alcohol, I can live up to my potential because alcohol is what I like to call the potential killer. It kills everybody's potential. I don't care how good you are, how rich you are, how successful you are. If you drink alcohol, it's slowing you down and it's holding you back. I've had the privilege of working with clients who have got multiple $100 million companies. I've had the privilege of working with clients who are responsible for thousands upon thousands of staff. That's people who need to work and put food on the table for their family. And the people I've worked with are the leaders of those people. And the decisions that they make are so important. And even they tell me, wow, when I don't drink, I mean, I'm so much better at my job, which impacts all of these people. You know, one of my superstar success stories was a guy that joined my program, stopped drinking alcohol because he had to focus on his startup. And within literally 6 months, he went from zero to over a $200 million valuation. Like, that's just sick. But just imagine that guy when he was at zero, just kept drinking. He would never have known how far he can go. Now he's one of the most successful people in America. So that's one of my fears, right? Not knowing how far I can go. Number 4, the fourth thing that helped me stop drinking alcohol. So I want to ask you a question. How many Olympic athletes do you know that have made it to the Olympics totally alone? How many business owners do you know that have built incredible companies totally alone? How many top lawyers are there? You know, partners of top firms. How many do you know that have just done it alone? Sat in a room on their own, pen and paper, building plans, and that's it, done. Zero. Maybe a couple, right? Maybe there's a few freak outliers. But the fourth thing that helped me stop drinking alcohol was accountability and skin in the game. Accountability is huge. Being held accountable by somebody else, making commitments to somebody else, and them holding you accountable to those commitments, it is a night and day difference. I've had coaches for all sorts of things, right? I've had multiple personal trainers. I've had a CrossFit coach, a weightlifting coach. I've had plenty of business coaches, YouTube coaches, product development coaches, operations coaches. I've probably spent 50, 60, maybe $70,000 on coaching. Don't forget, I've got a marketing degree, which probably cost, I don't know, like $100,000, something crazy like that. You know, the amount of money I've spent on education and coaches and accountability. The education side is irrelevant, but the accountability, I mean, I've spent a small fortune. But I don't want to sound cocky or like I'm trying to big myself up in any way. But I do feel like for my age is that I'm quite far ahead. If I go and look at like, you know, statistics and financial net worth and things like that, I'm definitely up there, right? I'm not trying to boast, but I'm trying to show you the power of accountability, right? Of getting help, of finding people who are way further ahead than you, hiring them, learning from them, and having them hold you accountable to a higher version of yourself. That is massive. So I didn't actually work with a stop drinking coach. I did a lot of it on my own, but luckily I had a best friend that I stopped drinking with together. We were, you know, about the same time. He just stopped drinking, then I stopped drinking. We ended up living together in Thailand together for a while. So that was a massive help. He was like my accountability partner. But this is why I built SoberClear, because I know so many people want the accountability, but what they don't want is the embarrassment of AA meetings. They don't want to go around calling themselves an alcoholic. They don't want to go and sit in a meeting in their local area filled with people that they know and everybody's gossiping and saying, oh, did you see that successful guy that's got a drinking problem? Oh, did you see that local business owner? Did you know he was an alcoholic? No. Most people that I work with don't want that, but they know the power of accountability. And the other side of accountability is having skin in the game. It's investing in yourself. I'm not saying that you should do this, and I'm not saying I charge this much money, but if you were to pay $100,000 to somebody, right, and you were to say, right, I'm going to pay you this money, and you can only give me that back after a year if I don't drink, how likely is it that you're going to drink? Pretty much zero. Imagine that one alcoholic drink costing you $100,000. Now, most of us don't need to go to that extreme, but you can see the power of something like this. Making a financial investment in yourself raises the stakes. Because then, if you F it up and if you do the thing that you said that you wouldn't do, guess what? That money's gone down the drain. And that's why I invest in so many different types of coaches. Any problem that I got in my life, I'm looking for an expert, because if I think about it, if I drink, I might be $160,000 down the drain. All that money I've spent on education, on coaching, on leveling up is going to be gone in an instant. Which leads me to the fifth and final thing. And this is the best one of all. The best thing that I had that helped me stop drinking alcohol, and I've had this from day one, is a vision. I don't know if you can see where I am right now, but you can see this ocean, you can see this infinity pool, there's a villa behind me, staying in a 5-star resort. And again, I'm not telling you just to the boast. That is not my intention. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you think, oh, Leon's an asshole now for telling me that. That's not my intention. My intention with making this video here is to show you what's possible. This was my vision. It might not be your vision, right? You might want a little homestead with 2 bedrooms. You want to be financially independent, live on a very small income, and raise your kids and homeschool them, right? That could be your vision. If that's your vision, amazing. That wasn't my vision. But after 7 years of not drinking alcohol, I'm now at the place where I wanted to be. And the importance of this is that rather than running away from the pain of alcohol, I would wake up in the morning and I'd be excited to go towards something, right? Because I'm telling you this, if you stop drinking alcohol because of the pain that alcohol causes you in your life, guess what's going to happen? In a month, in 2 months, that pain will disappear, and what's left? Oh, do you know what? Maybe it wasn't that bad after all. Maybe I should have a drink again. I'll tell you something. What's 10 times better is you wake up in the morning and you're like, let's get to work. I know where I'm going. I know what I want in life. And now I don't drink. I know I can get it. What a beautiful, beautiful mindset. And that's also something I do in the SoberClear program. We don't go to the past. We're not digging up war stories. We're not sat in circles talking about, oh, how much I used to drink. None of that stuff. What we're doing is coaching, right? We're focusing on the future. We're thinking about goals. We're thinking about our health, our financial life, our businesses, our lifestyles, right? Where do we want things to go next? Because at the end of the day, stopping drinking is literally the first step. It's the day zero. It's what you do after that counts. Anyway, I am accepting new clients into the SoberClear program right now. If you want help, go ahead and click the link in the description, book one of those free roadmap calls. We'll really dive into your situation. We'll really figure out what's going wrong. I'll give you a roadmap to follow. If you want to do it together, we can. If not, the call will still have a ton of value. We are accepting new clients right now, so you definitely want to go ahead and click the link down below. Have a great day.